We live, because we wasn't about to quit. No, we wasn't about to quit. Now we still gonna show up. We just gonna go mobile tonight. That's all. Can y'all hear me? Let me know. I ain't never do mobile before. Let me know. Let me know. Come on in here. Come back through. Come on back through. I was actually tempted to do this when I was in DC. All right, my man Hotep Oz is in here. There we go. Yeah, we don't ever give up over here. We ain't no quitters over here. We gonna find a solution. We gonna find a solution. You feel me? Um, let's see. Let's unplug this one. Unplug this. And plug this one in, and then we could turn the other one on. Ah, look at that! Look at that! We LED'd up. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Come on in here. Come on in here. So, trying to tell y'all something. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me. What's going? What's going on? I don't know what that means. What's going on, Miss Lisa? What's going on? All right, all right. Y'all can hear me? Y'all can hear me? Let's go. Bring him in here. Bring him in here. Now, I usually use my phone for some, like, background, um, doing back channel stuff, making sure things are coming in clear, whatnot. But this will do for the night. I already know what the issue is. I just have an old laptop. That's all it is. You know, send them super chats so you can get me a new laptop. How about that? Let me get some super chats so we can get a new laptop. But I already know what the issue is. It's a storage issue on my hard drive, and like when it's too full, a whole bunch of stuff happens. So my apologies that we're not streaming from the webcam, but we still streaming nonetheless. We still streaming nonetheless. So welcome, 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 everybody. Everybody, come on in here. Come on in here. You know, you know. Say what's up. Say what's up. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. But welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Hotep History Live. I am your host with the most, President Hotep Dudes, reporting live from Hotepistan. Reporting live from Hotepistan. Let me get my camera right. Let me show y'all. You know, yeah. Reporting live from Hotepistan, man. Thank y'all for coming through. It's another episode. Tonight was already going to be a short one. You feel me? Tonight was already going to be a short one just because I am extremely tired. Just being honest with y'all. I've been traveling for a good portion of the day and didn't get much sleep between to last night and yesterday. What's going on, Crystal? What's going on, Maria? I don't think I've ever seen you before, but all are welcome. All are welcome. Listen, the Library of Congress, the Library of Congress, man. I had an amazing time, sir. So shout out, first of all, shout out to my cousin. Shout out to my cousin for inviting me. She invited me like last month. She invited me last month. You know what I'm saying? There's some new people in here. I wonder if streaming live from my phone is like different algorithmically. I wonder if that is what it is. Because I remember when I was going through my YouTube shorts and I was scrolling through, there'll be like random people lives that like I would scroll through. So maybe that's it. Maybe, going live on the phone may be a new thing. Who knows? Who knows? But welcome, everybody. This is Hotep History Live. I'm your host, President Hotep Dubes. This is episode 37. My trip to the Library of Congress. Listen, yo, what's going on, Vincent? Son, when I tell y'all, the Library of Congress is everything I thought it would be and more. Everything I thought it was going to be and more. You would have thought I went to an amusement park. Like, dead ass. Like, you would have thought I went to like Disney World or something, son, because I was like a kid in a candy store at the Library of Congress. I was a kid in a candy store for the past 2 days, yo. When I tell you, I was able to touch the primary sources. When I tell y'all, I was able to touch all of the photos that if you follow Hotep history, then you've seen photos from the Library of Congress that I've put in my videos as like B-roll or depicting whatever I'm talking about. It was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I cannot wait to go back. I cannot wait to go back. I know I'm going to be returning. Like it was so fire, y'all. So shout out to my cousin. Before we get into that, shout out to my cousin for inviting me, even putting on my radar. I go to that website literally every day. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not in the LLC. Always, 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 always. But anyway, day one. Okay. I get up early, get up early. I get up, make it to the train station, take the train all the way to DC. Simple train ride too. It was only like an hour and a half. Used it to think and prep and all that other stuff. Had a great time there, getting there and stuff like that. No problems. I had scheduled a 1 o'clock meeting or a 1 o'clock um, appointment rather to be able to sit in one of the reading rooms in the Madison building because that's where my cousin was doing her research at. My cousin, she's a very prominent person in the NAACP, so she was doing some research for the NAACP. And so the room where all of those records are in the Madison building, in the manuscript room. And apparently the NAACP files and records are like extremely like popular and people are always like it's one of the more recycled and used um records that they have on file. So when it came down to that, I was so laser focused on the Madison building that I didn't really think about anything else, right? Which was at the time, first day, not really an issue because I'm going through reels. And so instead of touching actual books, I was going through the film. Like they had these little things, and you'll see it. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/slash Hotep History, patreon.com/slash Hotep History. You'll be able to see all of the behind scenes stuff that I was talking about. I'm gonna be uploading this week. I'm gonna have it all for you guys because it was such a dope experience. I had to document it. So they had these little small film reels. Now these small film reels, they had anywhere between 23 and 24,000 pages on it. You had to scroll through it, and you'll be able to see it I recorded everything. Everything that I did, I recorded. Okay, so I didn't record the whole thing, but every activity that I did while I was at the Library of Congress, I recorded it. So the first day, I'm just scrolling through the reels, making sure that I'm taking full advantage of what's going on. The reels were extremely dope. Okay, let's start there. So they have these different collections. One of the things you have to know, because of course, I'm going to always advise people to go to the Library of Congress, especially if you're Black American. But no matter who you are, no matter what race you are, no matter what ethnicity you are, go to the Library of Congress. Okay, and I know I'm all over the place, but my brain is a little bit scattered sometimes. So when it comes down to the Library of Congress, something that you need to know. Apparently, the Library of Congress may be closed to the public from here on out. Right now uh, in Congress, they're going to be voting on budgets. And if they take away the budget for the Library of Congress, the only amount of money that they'll be having for the Library of Congress is to just keep it open, but not open to the public. So people will still be able to, record and document stuff for the Library of Congress. But as far as you and I going there, we're not going to be able to go. And I learned that while I was there because I was just asking questions. That's what I do, right? So I was like, hey, are you guys hiring? I asked them if they were hiring just to see what was going on because I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I didn't want to leave. So I was like, shit, if I don't want to leave, I might as well get paid for this shit, right? So I was like, yo, are you guys hiring? And they was like, right now it's in limbo because we don't even know if we're going to have a job, if you guys are going to be able to even come visit. And so a lot of people, a lot of people, may lose their job, and a lot of people may miss out on the opportunity to even go to the Library of Congress. So between now and whenever they make that decision or whatever, prayerfully that they keep it open to the public. But between now and then, you 100% want to make your way down to the Library of Congress. So that's that. Now, before you get the reels, before you get the little reels, microfilm, you have to go through what you actually want. That was one of the first like eye openers for me is that you can't just go in there and grab books. That's not really how that works. If especially if you're doing it for research. Most people go to the Library of Congress to research. So if you're researching something like me, right, Black American history and stuff like that, which is extremely vague for the Library of Congress. People, you walk in there, ask for Black American history, they're gonna be like, okay, like what do you need, bro? Like we have literally everything. So we have to be very intentional and very specific. Very intentional and very specific when you go to the Library of Congress. So much so, you have to know at least, at the very least, the titles of books that you want to check out. You have to at least know the section of where the books may be in the Library of Congress. You have to have some specific information about what you are researching to be able to tell the librarians. They're going to help you. That's another thing that I'll get into in just a second. I want to paste this. So day one, I'm in the Madison building. Okay. Before I got to the Madison building, I had to go through the Thomas Jefferson building or the Jefferson building to be able to get my library card. I would show y'all the library card. I mean, yeah, I'll post it in like the video and stuff like that, but it has my library card number on it and my name. So while I don't really too much care about telling y'all my name. I don't care. I'm a published author, but but the number on the card, I can't let that be out. So, so when it comes down to, the micro reels, it's full of everything. So the first micro reels I got were Carter G. Woodson. I did tweet that. Y'all saw when I had the Carter G. Woodson folder. That folder is just pages and pages of things you can access from the micro reels from his collection, the Carter G. Woodson collection or the Carter G. Woodson papers. Um, they have some physical books, but in this building, in this room, in this building, they didn't really have many physical books. They had a nice collection of Booker T. Washington books. They had some W.E.B. Du Bois. They had some Marcus Garvey. They had the Who's Who in Colored America. They had some good physical first editions and stuff like that. However, most of the books are going to be in the the Jefferson building in the main reading room. That's where, you'll see in the video, it's like all of these thousands and thousands of books. You're surrounded by books, right? So I'm going through the micro reels. Now, I will tell you this, excuse me. I was so focused on, I'm a one track mind kind of guy sometimes, most times. I'm not about to be all over the place when it comes to the things that I'm thinking. I like to laser focus on the things that I'm doing, so just to make sure that I'm on top of it, right? So day one, I didn't really realize, like, I understand that I was in the Library of Congress, but I was so focused on the room that I was in and what I was doing in that room that I didn't really even look into the other rooms the first day. I was in the Madison building, I was in the manuscript room, and that's what I was doing. So the Carter G. Woodson collection had everything from his speeches, his writings, poems about him. Fam, they had his bills. Okay, they had his electric bills, they had his gas bills, they had checks that he wrote, checks that were written out to him, like just everything that you can think of. They had articles from when Carter G. Woodson died, and like the whole country mourned his death, especially in D.C. He died the same week as Dr. Charles Drew. So a lot of the articles of that day were, eulogizing the both of them, like Black America or America lost two great black men and all this other stuff. So it's like going through those reels was an extreme eye opener for me. Like just understanding that after you go, if you are a prominent person, a lot of your effects will be given to or donated to the Library of Congress. If you're somebody who was like, the whole nation knows you, black people or white people, whatever, throughout the nation knows who you are, and you're like a Carter G. Woodson, if you're a Booker T. Washington, if you're even a Frederick, even going back to like Frederick Douglass and stuff like that, your effects are going to be valuable to the American zeitgeist because people like me are going to want to read about it. So you got to see a lot of his like letters, correspondences that they have like an entire file on correspondence. This an entire file on letters going to and from Carter G. Woodson. And it's like, yo, he had beef with people. People was talking to him crazy. He was talking to them crazy. Like it was so crazy. Like it was so dope. And one of the things that I love about what I do is that these people, when you don't actually study the ancestors and you don't actually study history, these people are like just whatever to you. Sometimes they're not even like real to you for real. Like you don't really look at them as like the human beings that they are, like the flaws and all type of stuff. Like the way that you look at your family member or the way that you look at your friend, you understand they're human. You understand that they make mistakes. But when you are viewing historical figures through, polished histories, they're not going to tell you about Carter G. Woodson's bills. They're not going to tell you about Carter G. Woodson's letters and stuff like that. They're not going to talk about any of that type of stuff. They're just going to talk about all of his works, the books that he's written, the speeches that he's given, or even talking about certain things he may have said in the press. Maybe that's a maybe, but when you get to really see, like, oh snap, like he was paying $10 a month for gas, or he wrote a check out to such and such for $75, or here's a certificate for his membership of the NAACP. Here's his stock certificate for having shares in a particular company. Like they had one share certificate or stock certificate where he bought 94 shares of a publishing company, and then he went and bought 148 more of that same company, and that's in there, and it's all in the reels, and it's so many different things like bank statements, and like I said, you're going through thousands of pages. So that's what I was doing. I was just going through the Carter G. Woodson files, learned a lot. Like I said, he so somebody was like on Carter G. Woodson's heels for years and years and years. They wanted letters from Carter G. Woodson so bad. They kept writing Carter G. Woodson. And I didn't read the letters that they sent him, but I read the letter that he wrote them back. And he was like, "Dear sir, you have been wanting me to write you for so long, have you not?" Because you got to remember, this is like early 20th century writing. So a lot of the writing style is going to come from the late or the mid to late 19th century, the same way that we did when we were growing up writing. We learned about early 20th century writing, like the way that it's formatted, grammar, all of this other stuff. So the lexicon is still of 19th century lexicon. So he's just like, yo, listen, you've been writing me like crazy. I'm finally going to respond to you, but I'm not going to respond to you the way you think I'm going to respond to you. I'm going to hit you with an anecdote. I'm going to hit you with an anecdote. And that's exactly what he did. And he was like, I hope this pleases you. I hope you cool with this anecdote because I don't have the energy, or I'm not trying to give you the energy that you want me to give. And for me, that letter was just basically letting him know, like in so many words, like I understand that you look at me as this type of celebrity and all this other stuff, and you want me to put you in the history books and all of that, because that's what happens. That's something that I learned too. Is that when you are a prominent historian, because this is something that Carter G. Woodson went through, like real talk, people were literally badgering him to make that he. Oh, we back, we back. So let me put my phone on D&D. Let me do that now. All right. So people are going to be badgering you. People are going to be badgering you as a historian to put them in the history books. That's something that I didn't even realize was going to be a thing, but makes all of the sense. Makes all of the sense. I'll tell you a story, then I'll get back to the Library of Congress. So when I wrote my first book I started writing it in 2014 and I published it in 2015. And I was shopping it around to black bookstores. You feel me? Like, yo, I just wrote this book. I think it's super dope that if you put it on the shelf, we can do, I think it was like, I was going to give them like 33%, give them a third, right? If you put it in the shelves, I'll give you a third. And I was talking to this black bookstore owner in Philly, right? Now this bookstore doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. It's not like I'm happy that it's not there because I used to go there all the time. I met David Banner there. I met Umar there. I met a lot of prominent people in the conscious community in this store. It's Black and Nobel. I'm not scared to say it. So I go and I'm pitching them and stuff like that, and he's like flipping through the book, like, and he's like, "Am I in this book?" And I was like, no, you're not in this book. Why would you be in this book? He was like, well, a lot of the authors, they put me in their books because, they understand the clout that comes along with that and all of that. And I'm like, yo, fam, I respect what you do, but no, bro, I didn't put you in my book at all. And like, that like turned him off. Like he didn't want to put my book on his shelves because I didn't put him in my book. And it was so crazy. But that makes so much sense if you run, like, I don't agree with it obviously, but I understand that it's like if you run a very prominent or very notable black bookstore in Philly and people know that about you and all of that, there are going to be people that insert you into their books just because they want to be able to show love and all that other stuff. So I get that part. You feel me? I get that. Me though, I don't operate like that. If I'm gonna put you in my book, and I put mad people that I knew in the book. It's not like I didn't put anybody that I didn't know. I put my friends in the book. She's a fashion designer, and I put her actual photo in the book. And if you know about publishing on Amazon, you know that you got to pay for every picture. And I took out so many different photos in the book and kept hers because that's my people, and I wanted her photography to live forever in that book, and it does, right? So it's people that I do have, I had personal relationships with that I did put in the book. I just didn't have a personal relationship with Son. I just respected what he did as a black bookstore owner. So I say all of that to say it makes sense that people were running down Carter G. Woodson and being like, yo, I got this business, or I'm doing this, I'm lit in this area, I got this going on. You need to put me in your history books. You need to honor me for Negro History Week. You need to honor me for all the things that you got going on. And I found that super cool. That there were people in the early 20th century like literally chasing their own clout. Like They were chasing their own clout. Like they was like, yo, if Carter G. Woodson puts me in this motherfucking history book, nigga, I'm in this bitch forever. I'm in it forever. Cause you gotta think like Carter G. Woodson. I don't know how reliable my computer is gonna be tonight, but Carter G. Woodson. Let's see. Carter G. Woodson. Let's see. When did he die? He died in 1950. So we talking like what 50, 60 years later, 70 years later, I'm reading his works after death. 70 years after he died. That's not even counting all the things that he did while he was alive. So yeah, man, your name is going to live for a long time in Carter G. Woodson's works. So it makes sense that somebody would want their name and want what they had going on in his books. And people were badgering this man. People were literally writing him letters all of the time, all of the time to be put in the history books. And so for me as a historian, me as somebody who has already in my own way honored my contemporaries like your Maj Tourés, your King Randalls, Simone Bees, I'm going to be interviewing her. Hotep History Talks is about that. And then, I have the Hotep History textbook that's coming out. And the Hotep History textbook is going to have two different, I'm not going to say editions, but two different types. So you're going to have the Hotep History textbook that talks about all of the Black American history that came before us, the hundreds and hundreds of years before us. But then you're also going to have something similar to the Who's Who in Colored America. That's one of the books that I posted. That's one of the books that I read while I was there. And I'm going to be writing about prominent people of our day. So that book can live on for decades and centuries to come. Centuries to come. Like that's the whole point. It's not just enough for you to study history. You also have to be able to make history and understand or document the history makers of your time. Like that's extremely important because at a certain point, you're going to run out of people. If you just keep going further and further back in history, while there are millions of people, there's still a finite number of people that you're first of all in your lifetime that you're going to be able to document and record as far as people that came before you. But also you got to keep in mind that people already wrote about them. So while I'm able to uncover and rediscover a lot of people through Hotep history that came before us and stuff like that, there are people living and breathing right now, creating history, making history. And those people need to be documented. Those people need to be praised for what they're doing. That's why, like Mashere, King Randall, like there are people off the top of my head who I want to document. My man Steph Grant. Like there are people who are doing amazing things right now, and they need to be documented. So I know that as my prominence grows and my popularity grows, there are going to be people being like, "Yo, I got this going on, though. You need to write this in your history book. You need to add me to your history book." And especially once the first edition of the Hotep History textbook comes out, they're definitely going to want in on the second edition and the third edition and stuff like that. So I think that's super dope. I personally, as a historian, I think that's super dope that people was like, "Yo, Carter, please, friend, put me in the fucking book, bro. I got all of this shit. I got all of this motion going in Alabama. I got all of this motion going in Mississippi. I got all of this motion going in New York or whatever. You need to write about me, son. The world needs to know about your boy." So I thought that was super fire. The Carter G. Woodson reels were super eye opening. Um, and I want to say the next person was Booker T. Washington. I had to look up OG Book. I had to look up OG Book. Did y'all know that Booker T. Washington was a poet? I didn't know that. Booker T. Washington had poems, G. They had poems. I mean, he had poems. That was super dope. Now, I was mainly focused on the National Negro Business League. Okay, the National Negro Business. Yeah, Oz, Booker T. Washington he wrote poems. He wrote poems, bro. Like that was super dope to find out. That was super dope to find out. So I was in the I was in the I was still in the manuscript room, right? So they have some physical books in the manuscript room about Booker T. Washington, like I said. So when it comes down to Booker T. Washington, I was focused on the National Negro Business League. I wanted to know, the meeting minutes and proceedings. I wanted to know the names of the businesses, the business owners, advertisements. I wanted to know about Tuskegee. Um, it's a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted to know as far as it pertains to Booker T. Washington and whatever he had going on. So when it came down to book, you already know I was scrolling through them reels, learned a lot. Um, I didn't record as much because my phone was like on 10% by this time. However, I'm going back. I'm going back, and a lot of the stuff I can actually just pull up on the internet as well. Like if it's on the microfilm, it's on the website. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of physical books that haven't been digitized yet. But yeah, like there's plenty of that work on there. I will be able to. I'm like 95% confident that I'll be able to pull up his poems and stuff like that. No problem. And I got friends in the Library of Congress now. You feel me? I got a bunch of men and women who was rocking with me. Feel me? Like one guy, he emailed me a bunch of moving images or film from Black America, and he emailed them to me while I was there. He was like, "Yeah, man, anytime that we have any new films, coming out as far as black, they kept saying African American the whole time. I just had to let them rock, like whatever, because I don't say African American. Y'all have never heard me say that unless I'm reading something that says African American. I say Black American. But it was like, yeah, we have so many African American films and stuff like that come in. So whenever we get something new in, well, I'll email you immediately and send it to you. And I'm just like, oh my God. I'm making friends in here now. And that's another thing, y'all. Everybody that I talked to in the Library of Congress was extremely friendly and helpful. Helpful. They were extremely helpful and nice and kind to me, rather. And they loved what they do. That was one of the things that I really appreciated about these librarians. And I ain't gonna lie, that we grew up with the trope that the librarian who's to be like have the mean face all of the time, her glasses, and she would just be shushing you all of the time. First of all, we all adults in here, so nobody had to tell anybody to be quiet. That was one. Second of all, these people want to help you when you in there. They want to help you. They want to make sure that they're being as helpful as possible, yo. So I don't want to jump ahead, but yo, I'm telling you, yo, they will take their time. Now, one of the things that I learned while being at the Library of Congress is that everybody uses pencil. No pens are allowed. As a matter of fact, no hats are allowed. They search in your bag to make sure you're not stealing anything on the way out. And as a matter of fact, when you're in the Jefferson building, you can't even go into the reading room with a bag. You have to check your bag at the cloakroom. You feel me? So when you go into the Jefferson building, you walk in, you feel me? You have to give who with the $20 super chat? Let's go. Let's go. 3 fire emojis. Thank you, beloved. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. That's what I'm talking about. We gotta get this new laptop. This is going to the laptop fund immediately. This is going to the laptop fund immediately. Real talk. So, thank you again. So, boom, got friends in high places. Friends in high places. You gotta network. You gotta network. You gotta talk to these people. Extremely helpful. So, boom, I go through the Carter G. Woodson and the Booker T. Reel, and then what else did I do? Uh, Helen Burrow. What's that woman's first name? Helen Burrow. What's Helen Burrow's first name? Mhm. What is that woman's first name? Mm-mm. Nanny, yes, Nanny. Was it? Yeah, Nanny Helen Burroughs. I keep getting her name messed up. Nanny Helen Burroughs. She has a collection. See, I went in this thinking that that's the first one that I went to, even before Carter G. Woodson. It was the Daniel Murray collection. I went to the Daniel Murray collection. That was the first one I went to because that was how I was laser focused on the Madison room because Daniel Alexander Payne Murray's his collections in the Madison room. So I did Daniel Alexander Payne Murray, I did Carter G. Woodson, Booker T. Washington, and then Nanny Helen Burroughs. That was day one. I learned a ton of stuff about those four people. W.E.B. Du Bois came up just because him and Daniel did a lot of work together, especially on the 1900 Paris Exposition. So they worked together a lot. So W.E.B. Du Bois comes up a lot. And even though I don't agree with the man on many things, you can't take away from his impact. You feel me? Like it's still gonna be what it is. What happened says you owe me $5 for reading this name. It's copyright. Yakub will exact revenge on you. What? Anyway. Oh, okay. So the name of the person is saying, okay, so the name of the person is you owe me $5 for reading this name. That's funny. Yakub will exact revenge on you. You know, original black man. What can I say? But anyway, so that was day one. Doing nothing but the micro reels. Okay. Getting to know the lay of the land and stuff like that, being able to, understand what it means to even be in the Library of Congress. So now I got the system down pat. Okay. I go in the second day, knowing exactly like, all right, you got to be more specific and stuff like that. But the second day was today, was my last day, and I only had a finite amount of hours. And when this is something that I learned from one of the librarians, again, super helpful people. It's like they're all like history nerds and book nerds. You know what I'm saying? It's like my tribe. Outside of like Hotep and stuff like that. Like I honestly could have inducted mad of those people that work like the people that work at the Library of Congress into Hotep Nation. Like that's how cool they were and tapped into the history and tapped into reading and stuff like that. I remember I was telling this white dude, right? He was super helpful. He was the one that told me that Booker T, excuse me, he told me that Tuskegee and the Library of Congress have a beef, an ongoing beef as it pertains to Booker T. Washington's works. You feel me? Excuse me, he apparently like Tuskegee wants to keep all of Booker T. Washington's works, especially his first editions and stuff like that. They want that for his collection, for their collection. They want to be able to like, yo, y'all come to Tuskegee to learn about Booker T. Washington. We have a library full of his works and stuff like that. So whenever the Library of Congress tries to get something new from Booker T. Washington, Tuskegee be on their head like, yo, that's ours. That's the property of Tuskegee. Look inside the book. That's ours. And they go back and forth all of the time over Booker T. Washington's works and works that are coming out of Tuskegee or students or graduates from Tuskegee. They beefing all of the time. However, when most people, unfortunately, go to the Library of Congress to look up Black American history, they do what they do on the mainstream, focus on the 50s and 60s, the civil rights era and stuff like that. They don't really care about the 19th century. So when it came down to me, they was like, all right, so once I asked the stupid question, like, hey, do you guys have anything on Black American history? They all looked around, was like, dog, we're the Library of Congress. Of course we have Black American history. So once I got, over being looking, sounding like an idiot, asking that dumb question, I was like, well, I'm actually looking for late 19th century, early 20th century Black American history of life, just how people lived. That's all I really wanted to know. What was a random Tuesday, a random Monday, a random Thursday, like in Black America in 1880? What was it like in 1910? What was it like in 1920? And the reason why I tapped into Carter G. Woodson, because he's a historian, he's going to talk about this stuff. But I didn't know that if I could just ask for that and they would have materials for it. So I'm talking to this white dude, right? Because he was like, yeah, we got the civil rights stuff here. Most people come here for the NAACP and the civil rights stuff. And I'm like, yo, that's cool, that's dope. I don't disparage any of it. It's all Black American history at the end of the day. However, I'm more interested in stuff that people don't really talk about. And I started telling him about, because he was like, yeah, because he told me about the photography room and there's photos of this and stuff like that. And he was like, yeah, there's the civil rights era, yeah. He was like, it's pictures of lynchings and stuff in there and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that's totally fine. Like I'm desensitized to all that type of stuff. I study this stuff for a living, so I've seen more lynchings than the average person as far as photography goes. But I'm like, did you know that there were Negro lynch mobs? And the chat, like the way his face was like, wait, what? Like he was so shocked to hear that from him. Like, yeah, there were Negro lynch mobs. Like there were, black men who would lynch white men for assaulting women and girls. And after the shock came, across his face, he started smiling. Like he dead started smiling at the idea of black men lynching, white criminals. And maybe it's because, it's like a little bit of his white guilt got alleviated or something like that. I don't know. But he was happy to hear about it. He was shocked and then happy to hear that, that was happening. And I just started kicking him, with a whole bunch of Black American history. And he couldn't do anything but like, holy crap. Like he was just like, yo, I did not know that. And you know how good I felt. You know how good I felt. Like when it comes down to like being able to like put people on to history, yes, happy. Yes, happy. Not happy that, it happened, but he was smiling like, I guess happy is the wrong word, but extremely interested in what I was telling him about the Negro lynch mobs. Like he was like shocked and was like he was just standing there like this, like really, and he was smiling. So I mean, the only way I can really describe smiling is happy. But yo, like him learning about white dudes getting strung up for heinous crimes, you know what I'm saying? So he's just like, yo, I didn't know any of this stuff. And I'm like, yo, fam, this is like largely coming from primary sources from Black American ancestors. A lot of it does come from your books. A lot of the books that I tell you guys that I have in my digital library comes from the Library of Congress. You feel me? There's like thousands upon thousands of books that that the ancestors have documented in the Library of Congress. Like that's just a fact. So you can't read them all. And when most of your customers are coming in there looking at, the same 30, 40 years of Black American history from the 40s to the 70s and, the 80s and 90s and stuff like that, then you're not going to really care about what was going on in 1890 or 1910 or 1920 and stuff like that. As far as Black America is concerned. So I'm kicking it to him, and he's just like, "Yo, this is so crazy." So when he gets hyped now, he's like, "Okay, you got to do this. You got to go here. You got to go to these different rooms." So he was like, "Yo, you got to go to the photography room. You have to go to the photography room." Tell it me. He was like, "It's right across the hall." Yeah. Well, no, not right across the hall. He told me where to go. It's on the third floor, actually. Him and his mans was like, yeah, you gotta go there. You gotta go there. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I go to the photography room. Chat, yo, the photography room was so crazy. I'm talking about file cabinet after file cabinet of just just so many different photos, yo. So many different photos. So many fucking photos, yo. Oh man, I was in heaven. I was in heaven. Being able to like touch these photographs. A lot of these photographs I've used, not I don't even want to say, but yeah, a good handful of these photographs I've actually used in my videos and my content and stuff like that. But there were so many videos of, excuse me, so many photographs that I've never seen before. We talking about 1930s Philly neighborhoods, 1920s and 1910 New York City in the South, and farmers and sharecroppers and little kids, families, church, black men harvesting rice and corn. They had a picture of a bunch of black men shucking corn. And I'm talking about they're surrounded by corn, surrounded by corn. And one of the things that the photographers would do, one of the things that the photographers would do was title the photos with something that's actually describing what's going on in the, like, what led up to this photo. So they'd be like, but the corn shuckers, right? They'll be like, yeah, Negro farmers corn shucking, and a white woman came and asked them a question or something like that's in the title of the photo. Now, in the photography room, even more helpful people. So I walk up there and I told y'all that when it comes down to most rooms, you can't have anything. So they have lockers in the room. So they'll give you a key to the locker. You put your stuff, your bag and stuff like that in the locker, just because obviously theft. Pencils, because nobody wants to have to deal with somebody using a pen and vandalizing or using graffitiing any of the materials, because that would obviously fuck up the integrity of the material. So pencils all day. The girl at the front desk, she has pink hair, okay, but pink long hair. She has like a pink anime dress on. She has like anime tattoos and stuff like that, and she says things like "shooty patootie," like dead ass. Like, I'm not even bullshitting. Like, this, she's straight out of a cartoon, son. Like, she's straight out of an anime, and she's like so helpful and stuff like that. And so she's just giving me the rundown of what they doing here, and it's like, 'cause it's day two, so I'm a lot more like confident in what to say. I'm always confident, but I didn't know what they had or didn't have. But now I'm in there like, yeah, listen, I need Black American photos from late 19th century, early 20th century, anything after 1955. I'm not really interested in. I want to keep it concise within these decades. I'm looking for everyday life. I'm looking for farming. I'm looking for house ownership. I'm looking for families. I'm just, yeah. She's just like, yeah, yeah, we got all of that. We got all of that. And so they were swapping out shifts, so she was leaving and other people were coming in. So she introduced me to the next lady. She's like, yeah, let's take you over to the website, and that way you can kind of narrow down your search and stuff like that. And she gave me a link to one of their collections, and all I had to do was type in Negro, and 33,000 photos popped up just on the site. So now, at minimum, there's 33,000 photos at my disposal in these file cabinets. 33,000 just in the time frame that I said. Then she goes on to tell me that they've digitized, because they have physical photos, obviously. So they've digitized about 1.5 million photographs that they have, but they have over 17 million physical photographs that they've yet to digitize. Blew my mind. I'm like, 17 million? 17 million? She's like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, break it down to me. Like, how do you guys get these materials? Because Carter G. Woodson's, I was just looking at his checkbook. Like, how do you guys get all this stuff? And they was like, yo, listen, when people die, their effects, if they were prominent people or not. That was another thing. Like, that she told me this. Like, you don't even have to be somebody famous. If you want to if you want to go ahead and donate your works, your books, your photography, or whatever it is to the Library of Congress, so that can be documented in your country's zeitgeist forever, you can go ahead and do that. If you wrote a book right now, let's just say you did the Kindle thing, right? The Kindle publishing deal or whatever, where you wrote a book and no upfront cost for real, whatever. You just publish it on Amazon, and Amazon has a 60-40 split or whatever, you can donate that work to the Library of Congress and it'll be in there for the rest of forever. She was telling me that there are photographers who automatically upload their photos to the Library of Congress and so it can go strictly to the public domain. However, there are other photographers who sell their photographs to the Library of Congress and then they'll license it out and stuff like that. So y'all know I'm always for like limited government and stuff like that. But record keeping, I'm not mad at the government record keeping Americans. I'm not mad at that at all. Shout out to the Library of Congress. The government got it right when it comes to the Library of Congress. No notes whatsoever. The only thing I'm worried about, obviously, is Congress acting like they don't have the money to keep these people paid and making sure that people can come in there and enjoy the Library of Congress. That's the only thing that I'm worried about when it comes to bureaucracy and stuff like that. But as far as the Library of Congress, from Hotep Dubes, no issue. I haven't seen any corruption or anything like that. I've only seen a bunch of passionate people who are passionate about books, record keeping, history, and documentation, who are more than happy to help you. So she's just hipping me to how people even get turned down. She was like, "Yo, if we just let people just give us whatever they wanted to give us, yo, we would have hundreds of millions of pieces of history or hundreds of millions of pieces of like photography, books, manuscripts, pamphlets, newspapers and stuff like that." She was like, yo, people, like, we have to turn people away. We get so much. So that gave me a lot of hope. That gave me a lot of like just drive and determination as it pertains to me and my search. So um when it came down to the file cabinets, okay, they have this system. Now, this system has been in place since the 30s or 40s. So they separate the photos by region of the country, and then by subject of the photo. So the regions are separated by letters. So let's just say D is northeast. So that's your Connecticut's, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, all of that stuff, right? And then E is the south. So that's your Georgia, your Alabama, Mississippi, stuff like that. And then they'll have the southeast and the southwest. So all these different regions have their own letters. And then as far as the subject, they have like fishing, housing. They had undesirable places. They had fishing towns, planned towns, small towns, big cities. They had family activity, church services, and they would just break it down. They had Jewish church services, they said Negro church services. I looked through that file, saw a whole bunch of photos in black churches and stuff like that. They had obviously agriculture and farming and stuff like that. The farming files was like Jesus, it was crazy. And you got to see black farmers, black and white farmers working together. You got to see so much American history in these photos, yo. These photos, especially if the person was staring directly into the lens of the camera, you can see them. And when I say see them, I'm not saying perceive them. I'm talking about like you can see them, like you can see the pain or the joy or the happiness, the shock, the excitement, whatever was in their eyes, you can see them, fam. If you really pay attention to people, if you really observe people in your actual life, in real life, and you're a perceptive person and you're an observant person, these photos, I'm telling you, they spoke to you. I'm telling you, these single frame images spoke to you. The things that they were doing in these photographs, yo. I don't like, okay, I'll give you an example. It wasn't even anybody's eyes. They had pictures of a sharecropper family that were working on a plantation that was no longer, they weren't slaves there, but they worked there as sharecroppers. And they were sitting on the steps of the plantation house, right? The big house. But since slavery's over and it's like 1930, 1920, the mansion is completely dilapidated. And if you understand the way this how the South looked after the Civil War and how all of these big grand mansions were reduced to rubble, were reduced to like it looks like poverty. These people were living high on the hog off the backs of our ancestors. And then the Union troops came, the war broke out, all of that stuff. And now sharecroppers are on that same land, but the quote unquote big house is tattered, it's abandoned, nobody lives in it. There was another photo where I took a picture of this. I had to take a picture. I took a picture of the other one I was telling you about too, but I took a picture of this. This woman was stone faced. You could tell she was aggravated right before the picture was started. And it's the husband on one side of the steps, the kids in the middle, and then the wife and mother on the other side of the steps. It's like a good, got to be like 7, 8 kids in between them. So she's here, he's here, she's here, and it's 8 kids in between. It's sitting there in between them, and she's holding a baby that can't be older than maybe 3 months, 4 months. This is a small baby. She got a set of twins. She got Mac. They got mad kids, and she's just sitting there like this. Like she's stone faced, like she ain't smiling about nothing. And the husband is in the photo smiling like a motherfucker. Like he was cheesing like a motherfucker. He was happy as hell. But I could tell she was tired of her. She was tired of them damn kids, and she was tired of him. Because she got a baby, a small baby in her hands. And all of these kids were under the age of 10. She was having these babies back to back to back to back. Then had a set of twins on them. Then had a set of twin girls. It had to be at least 7, 8 kids plus the baby. That's how many kids they had, and they were all young. They were all. I think the oldest may have been 10, maybe 10. So back to back to back children, and she was tired, fam. You could see it in her face. She was tired of all of them. Every single last one of them. She was tired. And then the baby, when you see the baby, fam, the baby like that, like the baby is sitting like this. So his mom is holding him like this, and he's looking like this, like damn, you got that many kids for real? Like even the baby was like, God damn, you got a lot of kids. So that's just 2 photos, and I'm surrounded by thousands of them, thousands, chat. I'm telling y'all, I didn't want to leave. I'm telling you, I would have spent the night in the Library of Congress. I'm telling you that. I would have been in them file cabinets for days, fam. And you don't have to put the photos back once you take them out. Cause I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I broke a few rules, and you will see it in the video. So they say that you're not supposed to take photos while you're at the cabinet. Don't record the room. Don't do this. Don't do that. But you already know. I'm gonna do what you know what I mean? I'm not hurting nobody. I ain't violating like that. I ain't violating nobody's job or nothing like that. But come on now. I'm excited. It's my first time in here. Let me rock. You know what I'm saying? Maybe after the third, fourth, fifth time where it's like I'm just used to it. Y'all know my name. Hey, Hotep, what's going on? And all of that. But this is my first time in the photography room. I'm about to go crazy. So you can't have any of the photos on the ground. If it's in the plastic film, you can't take it out. I didn't take it out out of respect. I didn't because I didn't want to, mess up the integrity of any of the photos. Like I didn't do anything that was going to harm the artifacts. I wasn't going to do anything that was going to harm the books, harm the photos, or anything like that. Because that'd just be terrible, especially as a historian. That would be dumb. You feel me? But I took pictures of them file cabinets. I took pictures of them file cabinets. I took pictures of the photos inside the file cabinet. I shot videos in there. I did all of that. The only thing that I did do on accident, she said, when you take it out the file cabinet, don't place them on the floor. Place them on top of the cabinet. And if, like I said, if I'm going through the system to find a particular subject, it may be the cabinet that's right above the floor. We're talking about inches above the floor, and I'm squatting and stuff like that, taking the photos out, and the first instinct isn't to do this. It was just to put it right next to me where I'm at. So I had to be like, oh shit, I can't put them on the ground. I can't put them on the floor. And so I put them on the top of the file cabinet. You feel me? I did that. But I went through maybe 30 different photo sets. And like each photo set had at least 5 or 10 photos in it. Like, and that was just in the small time that I was there. In the small time that I was there, if I had more time, I probably would have pulled 1,000 photographs. 1,000. Easy. Easy. Like this is really something that I do. Like researching and doing all of these things. Like man, yo. I tell you I didn't want to leave. But let's check the chat, man. Let's check the chat. Let's see. Crystal says Nanny Helen Burroughs was a prominent black Washingtonian. That makes sense. She would be the yeah. That's another thing. They had like a whole Washingtonian, whatever it is, Washingtonian, yeah, Washingtonian. Section of it. Carter G. Woodson was like big. He had like Pepco. His Pepco bills was in there. You feel me? Um, Ronald says historians find joy in finding out new information. Absolutely, absolutely. When I was kicking this, because I was kicking my Hotep history to everybody that I talked to. Like, yeah, I know. Like when I was talking to the moving images guy, I was talking about Oscar McHugh and stuff like that, or how you say his name. So me and him was rocking it, over that. And it's like one of the things that you will have is that people be like, "Oh, you know your stuff," and so now they get the name dropping, and now we just throwing names at each other. Like, yeah, I know him. I know Gordon Parks. I know such and such. Like, you feel me? Like you start to just throw names at each other. It's like y'all really just rocking and rocking off of the history. So that was super dope. That energy from just like-minded people, I definitely found a try. I'm about to have some of them be Hotep historians. Let's see. Sammy says it's like a blank coloring book. Each story adds a bit more liveliness and depth to the pictures. Love the enthusiasm, bro. When I try to tell you, I'm not selling this shit, Sam. I'm telling you, I really was in there fanning the fuck out. I was in there like, oh, like I was dead ass doing this shit the whole time, like, oh my god. And she was over there like, she got work to do and shit like that. And so once she told me how to find what I look for, what I need to look for, I was off to the races. Didn't bother her again. Didn't bother her again. The only time I bothered her was when I had to be reminded of the letter system as far as region. Because I'm like, yo, I'm looking, and I'm still in the northeast section, right? I'm like, I'm looking, I'm not seeing anything about cowboys. And she was like, oh, well, you got to remember the regions. I'm like, duh. Why the fuck would there be fucking cowboys in the northeast region in the 19th century? Now, don't get me wrong. There's horse riders in Philly. Like I lived in Philly for 10 years. There's stables in the middle of the hood. Like you can literally go to the hood. They actually Idris Alba was in a movie about the horse riders in Philly. You feel me? The cowboys in Philly and stuff like that. So they exist. It's just that when we're talking about where the prominence of black cowboys are going to be, is going to be in the South, Southwest, and the West. So had to just redirect. That was the only time I bother her. And she's hearing me like saying, wow, oh my God, this is crazy. This is insane. She just looks over at me and I'm just like, yo, like I'm like, yo. She was like, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Glad you're enjoying. I'm like, yo, I am having a ball right now. I'm having a ball. Oh my God, yo. Honestly, honestly, I know they close. They close at 5, so they've been closed for almost 5 hours now. But I promise you, I want to go back in the morning. Like I'm like this close to just going back to DC in the morning. That's how much I want to go back, chat. Like I like, oh my God, because it was like when you watching a good movie or a good TV show and you get to the end and it's about to be a cliffhanger because there's only 5 minutes left in the damn show. That's how it felt when I was like in the last hour of me being at the Library of Congress. I was like, damn, I know this is about to end. I know this is about to end. You feel me? And I had to get to the train station and all this other stuff. So like Like tune in next time at another episode of Library of Congress. Like that's how I felt. Like, I want to come back tomorrow. Real talk, yo. So that's just one room. I'm not even done. I'm not even done, son. But let's finish up the chats. Um, CWJ says definitely want to go to the Library of Congress someday. Man, make it your business. Make it your business to go. Whatever you are looking for, they have it there. In the realm of history in America, they have it there. And new things are being added daily. Okay? Not to sound morbid or anything like that, but old people are dying. Old people die every day, whether they're prominent or not. And their photographs, their books, their works are going to be in the Library of Congress. A lot of them are. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. So new material is being added. And I said that to the girl when she was talking about the 17 million photographs. I'm like, yo, this shit is like YouTube. It's impossible. It's impossible for one person to watch every video on YouTube because so many new videos are added daily. So many new videos are added daily. Even if you stopped, okay, we're only going to watch videos that were made from September 24th, 2025 to the first day that YouTube came out. You would literally have to live 100 lifetimes for you to get through them. So I'm telling you, no matter how much you study, no matter how much you read, no matter how many photos you look at, there's going to you only scratch the surface. You will have only scratched the surface. You if you spent the rest of your life inside of the Library of Congress, you still wouldn't have scratched the surface by the time you died. That's how much history is in there. There's something in there for everybody. Everybody. Okay. Vincent with the fire emoji. Shout out to Vincent. Tapping in always. Ronald says, thank you, Jefferson, and your financial literacy. For sure. Miss Lisa says, you sound like you went to Las Vegas. You hit the jackpot of knowledge. I would have been a big kid in the LOC. I can't even know how huge it is. I'm trying to tell you, Miss Lisa. Watch when y'all, because Miss Lisa's a Patreon subscriber. She can tell you. Okay, it's lit over on the Patreon. When I show y'all the footage of the main reading room in the Library of Congress, if just that room alone, because they didn't even like there's books that's not even in that room that they pull for you, right? Just in that room alone, you would have to live several lifetimes to read those books. That's how many books are just in the main reading room. That's not counting all of the books that's in the vault. That's not counting all the books that's in the basement. Like, oh my God, son. Malcolm says, no, well, Miss Lisa says, just listening, smiling, have me excited, and I didn't even go. New York in the building. That's a fact, Miss Lisa. Malcolm Riley says, Hotep, this tickles my nerd side of me. I'm trying to tell you, pause though. Pause. Not trying to tickle no side of you, brother. It's all good though. You my mans. But I'm trying to tell y'all, fam. Oh my God, son. Like these photographs. I can't talk enough about the photographs. They were going crazy in there. You feel me? Like, oh my God, son. Like, you gotta go. You got to go. So, boom. I'm in the photography room for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, just going through. I'm in the file cabinets. Just at this point, I got the binder in my hand. I got the reference. I'm the only one in there. That's another thing. I'm going in the middle of a weekday. Like it's not Friday, and I don't even know how popular the Library of Congress is, as opposed to like the museums that's just down the street. It's the Library of Congress. I mean, how popular is your library in your city right now? How many people in that library? You feel me? So when it comes down to the Library of Congress, I'm the only nigga in the photography room. It's me and the workers, maybe one other person on the computers. I'm in these file cabinets, so I'm walking around with the binder, like, okay, 39, 3921, that's farming. 39, I'm just like pulling, and the file cabinets is like 3 feet long. Like, you pulling out the whole joint. And it's just like you just going through all of these different files, fam. You just pulling up. Pulling up. And again, it's not divided by race. But tell me why, chat. Tell me why there was not a single subject that didn't have the ancestors in it. I don't care what you're talking about. Business owners, homeowners, farmers, landowners, like it did fishing towns. There were black Americans in every and I didn't go through all of them. I was only in there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. But every subject that I pulled and I'm going through, I tell you this, and y'all see this in the video. They had a tab called Men in Their Prime. The first 5 photographs was black men. Just men in their prime. Men in their prime. That was the title of the subject. Men in their prime. Young men, old men, children, children with adults, adults with children, children with their family. Everything like had black Americans in it. And you know what that told me and reassured me and reaffirmed? That when I tell y'all that black Americans are woven into every single stitch of American historical tapestry, I mean it. You do not have the United States of America without black Americans. Flat out. The Library of Congress proves that. This ain't even just me no more. This ain't even just my scholarship and what I study, because I study black American history. So it can be some bias there. This is a room full of thousands upon thousands of photographs. And I'm looking up fishing, American fishing. Black, 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 white, black and white, black, white, black. Black people are in this, represented in the Library of Congress, bro. You can't tell me nothing. You cannot tell me a single fuck thing about the ancestors. They are in the LOC. They are in the Library of Congress on their own volition. These photographs were taken 100 years ago. Somebody white, somebody black, somebody American, so that matters, felt the need to make sure that that photograph or those photographs were in those file cabinets. These file cabinets, they may be newer, but the system in which they've been logged, you feel me? It's from the 40s. From the 40s, that's almost 100 years ago. And black people were there in those cabinets. In those cabinets. So please believe, chat. Please believe the ancestors. This country would not look the way it looks today without the ancestors. And this goes for white people too. Your ancestors, the country wouldn't look the way it looked without your ancestors. But you know, we on the Hotep History channel. And I'm trying to tell you, when it comes to this black American heritage, when it comes to black American culture, when it comes to black American history, when it comes to black American economics, black American politics, this country does not exist without it. I'm trying to tell you something. I don't care what the white nationalists say. I don't care what what they call Groyper. I don't care about none of those groups, because they don't know that their ancestors more than likely had either a fondness or a hateful respect for the ancestors. They may have hated them, but they had to respect it. They had to respect it. And even if they didn't, they were in denial. Period. You know that your state wouldn't look the way it looks without black American labor, without black American thought, without black American ingenuity. Impossible. Impossible. And Vincent gave me my bullseye emoji, so you know I'm talking that good shit. I'm trying to tell y'all something, son. Go to the Library of Congress, man. I know I'm going back. I know I'm going back. I might fuck around, be going twice a month. I might be going back twice a month. I know I'm going at least once a month. I'm telling y'all that. That's gonna be my second home for real. Like, that place was incredible, fam. Yes, yes. You probably wondering, did he shed a tear in that motherfucker? A little bit. Little one. It wasn't no crazy shit, cause but a tear of respect. Just one coming off the left eye. Keep it 100. Like y'all have no idea just how beautiful that was to me. Real talk. Like y'all. Maybe I'm weird, maybe whatever, but yo, seeing the ancestors in that light. Good. And don't get me wrong. There was some fucked up photos in there. There was pictures of sharecroppers' feet in their shoes, women's feet, women's shoes, worn. I'm talking about to the fiber. That shit that was some stark ass shit. You feel me? But that's life. I could show you a woman with feet like that in 2025 in the ghetto. But I'm telling y'all, yo, like to see them photos up close, be able to touch them, fam, it do something to you. If you really tapped in with the ancestors, yo, I'm telling you, I know it sounds fantastical and I'm getting fanatical, but I heard voices, man. I heard voices. And like I said, I was the only one in the room outside of the employees who were quietly on their computers. And it wasn't like they was talking to me. I just heard words in my ears. Like yo, listen, man. It was like a spiritual experience being in there. I'm being so dead ass right now. Like it was. So I'm like, yo, I said I dead ass might be there tomorrow. I'm so fucking serious. I'm so fucking serious. I really might go back in the morning, yo. Real talk, son. Like that shit was fucking crazy, fam. Exactly, Miss Lisa. That's what she told me. That's exactly what she told me. Check the chat. Said the government possibly closing it October 1st. Like that's a real possibility, son. And it's like, son, man, son. So I leave the photography room. As I'm leaving the photography room, she tells me, yo, the moving images room is right across the hall. You feel me? Right across the hall. So I'm like, oh my God, for real? So I go in there. I record, the walk in. I try to be on my best content creator behavior. I'm recording, walking, and all this other stuff, trying to, make sure I'm keeping y'all in mind when I put it on the Patreon. You feel me? Keeping y'all in mind to entertain y'all and stuff like that. But I am like, y'all have to understand, I'm on a high right now. I'm on a high right now, walking into these different rooms. So I go into the moving images room. Um, just one guy in there, nobody else. Nobody else. Like, yo, man. When I tell y'all, I really felt like this shit was just all made for me. And that may be my narcissism, but like when you're the only person in a room and it's just you and the person that's assigned to that room, and you walk in and like, hey, what can I do for you? And I'm like, yo, listen, man, same thing. Now I'm ordering this shit like I order my haircuts. Like, hey, Black America, late 19th century, early 20th century, anything after 1945. I mean, after 1955, I don't really need. I'm just looking for lifestyle. I'm looking for homes. I'm looking for, day to days. I'm looking for all of this stuff. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, hold on. Oh, slow down. He's telling me to slow down now. That's how hype I am in these rooms. I'm on it now. I know what I want. I ain't second guessing. I'm not wondering. This is what I want. This is what I need. Get a Library of Congress. Give it to your boy. Give it to your boy. I know you got it. And he seen how excited I was. So now we start talking about black film and stuff like that. And he's like his name is like Zoran. That's his name. His name is Zoran. Like he's not even from America. But he sees like the enthusiasm and the passion. He's seeing like the energy. So he's like, oh wow, like, yeah. So that motivates him to be on the ball. That's the thing about like-minded people, or people who see the passion in other people about things that they're passionate about. You feel me? Let me charge my phone. Tripping, not charging it. So he sees this. You feel me? He sees this and he's like, yo, yeah, for sure. I'll send you everything that we got. Because at this point, there's no viewing at the Library of Congress when it comes to videos and stuff like that. So I couldn't have viewed it at the library, but he was like, yo, listen, we got we have videos of all of this stuff. All the stuff that you're saying, we have videos of it. I'll email it to you. What's your email? Right? So I'm like, yeah, this is my email. Bum bum bum. Before I even finished my like next two sentences, notification came up on my phone, and the subject was black films. So now I got his email, and he said, email me anytime if you have any questions. Email me anytime. I'll respond. And if I have anything new come in as far as black film in that time frame, I'll make sure I send it to you immediately. So that's my man's now. I got a man's in the Library of Congress. Y'all done fucked up. Y'all done let the Hoteps in the dough. Y'all done let the Hoteps in the dough. Now I got my man's in there. You feel me? I got my man Zoran in the moving images department. That's my guy. You feel me? And so that was another part of it, talking to the librarians. What do you do? Why are you doing this? I'm like, well, I'm an independent researcher and I'm a historian. You feel me? I'm a historian and this is what I do. And it's like, oh, so tell me about it. So you know me, I'm hitting them with the Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays on YouTube and Kick, da 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 da. Like I'm telling them about Hotep history. And they're like, oh, that's so interesting, da 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 da, all of that. And I'm just like, yeah, yo, just tap in. So I told him, he was like, yeah, I'll keep an eye out, I'll watch it. I'm on YouTube all of the time. So I don't know, you might be in one of the viewers. Shout out to you, Zoran, if you're watching. But so I didn't spend that much time there because it was most for him, it was just conversation. So I was probably in there like 20, 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? 20, 30 minutes. So I'm like, yo, listen, this is my last day. I got to make the most of it. So it's time to go to the Jefferson building. All of this is taking place in the Madison building, the manuscript room with, Nanny, Booker, Carter, and Daniel. That's all Madison building manuscript room. Go up to the photographs. That's in the Madison building. Go to moving images right across the hall. That's still the Madison building. The main reading room is in the Jefferson building. It's in the Jefferson building. So I gotta walk. So you can it's two ways to go between the Jefferson and the Madison building. The quickest way is to just walk across the street. You feel me? But then now you gotta go through the entrance that everybody else is going through. So now you gotta go through security again. So even if you came from the Madison building and you went to the Jefferson and back to the Madison, that's 3 times you gotta have your bags checked, go through the metal detector and all of that. Or you can go underground to the tunnels, to the tunnels, and you can walk seamlessly, no security whatsoever, from the Madison to the Jefferson building. So that's what I did. Because I'm not gonna keep getting checked by police. I don't like that. Uncomfortable. You feel me? So boom, make it to the Jefferson room. Now, when you go in, like I said, I have my book bag with me. I was only there overnight, so I didn't need to pack a suitcase. You feel me? I packed very light, very, very efficient traveler, right? So I make it to the Jefferson building, walk up the steps. Now I'm inside the Jefferson building. Cool. Now I was in the Jefferson building the day before to get my library card. So I kind of know the lay of the land. The register room is right across from the main reading room, right? So I go, and the security guard that was in the manuscript room on my first day on Tuesday was now the security guard securing the main reading room. Indian dude named Singh. His last name was Singh. Singh, right? Oh, he got to be in his 50s and 60s. Cool little age Indian dude, right? So he tells me yesterday, like the day before, yeah, yesterday. He tells me yesterday that I can't have my hat on inside the manuscript room and stuff like that. Now, I told y'all when you go to the main reading room in the Jefferson building, no bags allowed. No bags allowed whatsoever because they can't risk you stealing a book because there is no book that comes up on a metal detector. They have a way of they have you walk through this little gate once you leave the main reading room. I don't know what that's supposed to do. Like it looks like a metal detector, but I don't know if they have put something in all of their books that's supposed to be detected when you come out. I don't ever plan on stealing from the Library of Congress, so I would never know. But I didn't check my book bag. I didn't check. I walked right past the coat check or the cloak room. That's what they call it. The cloak room with my book bag on, thinking like, it's whatever. This is my book bag. So I walk past the cloakroom, go all the way around because you gotta, it's a freaking maze in all these different places. Like DC is literally just geometry on steroids. That's all DC is. It's just geometry. So I walk past the cloakroom, make the left, go down, make another left, go down, hop in the elevator, go to the first floor. I see my man. I see my man from yesterday. So I'm like, oh, my man. He's like, you can't go. You already got your card. I know you got your card because I checked your card in. I beeped your card in yesterday. So you either get in the card in this room or you're going into the main reading room. So if you're going in the main reading room, you already know there's no bags. So I had to then walk back all the way back around, go back down to the ground floor, check my book bag in, and then come right back up. Fine. He sees me, fist bump, all of that shit. I go in there, and y'all, when I walked, because I this is my first time ever walking into this room. First time ever walking into this room. I walk into this room, chat, and what I tell y'all, son, this shit is like a fucking cathedral. Like the closest description, and I know this is gonna sound childish, but the closest description I could give the Library of Congress is fucking Beast Library and Beauty and the Beast. Do y'all remember how Belle looked at the fucking library when she walked in that bitch? That's how that shit is. It's fucking huge. We talking like 100-foot fucking ceilings and shit. Like it's like a cathedral of books, and it's in a fucking dome. It's like it has a dome in the ceiling with painting, illustrious paintings and shit like that. Wall to wall books everywhere, everywhere, and it's quiet. Now this is going to be the most people in the room. I think in the main reading room where everybody's supposed to be getting their research on, it was probably like at most, and this is me giving like get grace, like maybe it was more than I thought. 2 dozen people. 2 dozen people. Because before I went to the Library of Congress, I'm thinking it's gonna be like the museums, jam-packed, lines everywhere, all of that. It was only one line that I had to wait for, or two. One was to get in to the actual Jefferson building, right? And if I just would have went through to the Madison building and walked over to the Jefferson building through the tunnels, I wouldn't even have to go through that line. So that line, the first to get in, and then the second line was to be in line to get your library card. Other than that, complete full access. You walking in there, no problems. 2 dozen people in this huge room, hundreds of seats that you can just sit down in. They got the lamp right over the desk so you can read. It's dimly lit. The whole room is dimly lit. It's not super bright in there. It's a little bit brighter than this room that I'm in right now. Right? And you walk in, and this shit is just this beautiful library, yo. Wall to wall books. Now you can touch those books. You can, go in. They got these things called alcoves, right? You can touch those books, but they're all just reference books. Every last one of them. Thousands of books, but they're just reference books. Directories and different books that references primary sources and stuff like that. If you want to actually if you want to actually access these books and shit like that, you have to request them ahead of time. Now, if you walk in, you walk in at 8 o'clock in the morning when it opens, right? 8:30 in the morning. You walk in there and you request, like, hey, I went on the website, I want this book, this book, this book, this book, and you give them a list of like 20 books. It'll take them about an hour to 2 hours to go get it for you. So I was in between a rock and a hard place at that point. It was either miss the train, which I really wasn't even that like tight about, but I knew I had to come home and stream. You feel me? But if it wasn't a streaming day, yeah, I probably just would have stayed. I probably just would have just took the next train or however many trains later and let her like take that hour and a half, 2 hours to go get the books that I requested. And that is one of the reasons why I'm so tempted to go back tomorrow because I can make the request overnight online and then go there in the morning and have all of those books delivered to me. That was one of the, I ain't gonna lie, that was one of my favorite experiences of the Library of Congress. Is the concierge service that comes along with being a researcher in there. First of all, they don't call you a reader. They say, "Are you visiting?" Meaning, are you just walking in that bitch and just taking pictures and leaving, or are you a researcher? You feel me? And it's like, yo, I got my library card and stuff like that. They call you a researcher. You feel me? So she just hit me with all these reference books. Like she showed me a directory, a black business directory out of Wisconsin. It's just a book that I think was written in like the 1940s, 1950s. Then she gave me the Who's Who in Colored America, that book, first edition. But she was like, if you really want the books, you got to go to the site, look up where the location of it in the main reading room is, or wherever it is in the Library of Congress, and we got to go throughout the building. We got to travel throughout the building to go find your books. Because yeah, they may be all Black American books to you, but their subjects are different. The way that they were categorized and logged and and put into the shelves could be hundreds of books difference. You feel me? So she was like, "Yeah, you need to give us at least an hour to 2 hours time to be able to get these books for you." She was like, you can order them right now. Like it'll be the Library of Congress is going to be open 2 hours from now." But I'm like, "Nah, I got a train to catch, all of that stuff." So if you are going to the Library of Congress, please go to the website, pre-register for your library card. Okay, make sure that you know exactly what you are looking up. This is not like a regular library where you could just walk up there. Like that, you can do that. Don't get me wrong. There's thousands of books that you could just walk up, open up, sit down, and read. But if you have a specific thing you want to learn, you have to be specific in your search. So you got to know the title, know the location, and or know the location. You have to know something specific about the particular titles that you want to read. You have to. Okay. So listen, y'all. Oh my God. Oh my God. Miss Lisa, she described it very well. I felt like I was in Vegas. Like I really hit the jackpot. Like, oh, and to know that I've gone to DC, I've gone to the museums before, completely walked past the Library of Congress. And it's not even like, oh, I didn't like history back then, or I wasn't a fan of history. I've been a fan of history since I was a kid. And I'm telling you, yes, in my 30s or whatever, I'm way more intentional about what I'm studying and Black America this and Black America that. But like I would have been feeling like this at 19, 23. So I hope Congress does the right thing on October 1st. I'm going to be personally crushed if they close the Library of Congress to the public come the first. Because that's what the lady told me. I forgot the date until Miss Lisa said it in the chat. But she was like, yeah, like I'm like, wait, you talking about they going to vote for this in a few days? Like all this stuff hangs in the balance. And she was like, yeah, yeah. I was like, damn. So we're not Congress, so we can't vote on it. But I'm telling y'all, man, like real talk. I know it sounds fucking crazy, but if somebody would have gave me the option between going to Vegas for 2 days or going to the Library of Congress for 2 days, it would have been a no-brainer. Library of Congress. Library of Congress. That's where I want to be. I'm so fucking serious. Like that shit was so crazy, and I didn't even scratch the surface. I didn't even scratch the surface. That's the craziest part about it, chat. Like I didn't do anything compared to what was able to be done in that motherfucker. I didn't do anything. I had a blast, and I maybe touched. 1,000th of a percent of what they have in there. 1,000th of a percent. That's how vast that their resources are. I'm telling you, the next time I go, I will be there from open to close. I will be there from 8 to 5. I can guarantee you that. I will be there from 8 to 5. I'm not leaving until it's time to be like, yo, Hotep, you gotta leave, bro. We all want to go home. That's how they go. That's how they gonna have to treat me. Like, Hotep, yo, we turning the lights off in this motherfucker. We have to go. We kept it open for 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes because you said you emailing yourself something, PDFs and all this other shit. But bro, it's past 5. We gotta go. They're gonna have to drag me up out that bitch. That's how fucking lit I was in that fucking library, son. I want y'all to know that. I want y'all to know that. I don't know how this works. I don't know because, like I told you, I'm extremely tired. I'm extremely tired. Um, but I had to let y'all know about the Library of Congress. I'm going to be taking the next couple days, um, troubleshooting what's going on with my laptop, so we don't have any of the issues that we had tonight as far as streaming from the webcam and stuff like that. So if we don't have an episode on Friday, you will get content on Patreon. Okay, you will get content on Patreon, but we got to do some troubleshooting on my end. And that's just what it is. Don't make fun of my tape either. All right. I know I got the tape. Don't make fun of my tape. You feel me? But yeah, y'all. I just had to tell y'all about my trip. You know what I'm saying? I had to tell y'all about my trip. Let's check the chat. Miss Lisa says that's jacked up. It's politics with the tariffs. Inflation is not good for a lot of people. People who work don't get paid. For sure, I'm not gonna act like I know anything about the tariffs and all of that, Miss Lisa. But I understand that people may lose their job if they vote against keeping the Library of Congress open. Because you still need archivists, you still need people to work there. But I know they're going to be downsizing because a lot of those jobs are for to make sure that the public is attended to in the library. So again, y'all, I appreciate it. Everybody that came through tonight. This was going to be a relatively short one. Um, I just had to tell y'all. I had to tell y'all. It's like so worth going. So worth going. You have to go. You have to go to the Library of Congress. If you guys are a fan of history like I am, if you guys are fans of research and reading like I am, I'm telling you, this is the ultimate. This is the ultimate, and I'm glad that it's in the region that I live in. Because if I lived on the West Coast, if I lived, all the way down south, if I lived in the Midwest, if what I'm saying, if I didn't live in the northern eastern region, it's a farther trip. But like for me, it's literally a $20 train ticket to get there. You feel me? Our train ride. So I'm going to take advantage of that while it's still available. So it's like a 90% chance I'm going to be going back this week, or at the very least over the weekend or the top of next week, depending on what. Because we got a week, something like that. Yeah, about a week to see what they're going to do as far as the vote. So I want to go again before God willing it doesn't, but just in case it does, before it potentially closes. So I'm telling y'all, yo, like, oh my goodness, I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped. I'm still hyped. I'm tired as hell. I'm exhausted, but I'm floating off of that. I'm floating off of that trip, yo. Floating off that trip. I was sitting in the hotel room just hype. Just hype. You feel me? So yeah, I can't wait to go back. And I advise all of you guys to take the trip if you can. For sure, for sure. But thank you guys for tapping in tonight. You already know I don't give a fuck what the conditions are. We gonna show up every time. And I wasn't about to not stream tonight. I know Laptop acting a little wacky, but that wasn't gonna stop me from streaming. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. So shout out to y'all for tapping in, Miss Lisa, Vincent, Crystal, Hotep Oz. My man Hotep Mac was in the chat. I see you, boy. Malcolm, um, CWJ, who shout out to you for the super chat for sure. Sammy, of course, one of the day ones. Somebody from Australia named Three Stripes. You know what I'm saying? Came through. Somebody named Maria came through. So thank y'all for coming through, man. And as always, you can't have the future without the present, and you can't have the present without the past. And we don't study history to live in the past, but to order our steps in the present so we can positively what? Affect our future. Thank you guys for tapping in. Make sure you subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Hotep History, patreon.com/Hotep History. And as always, until next time, Hotep